I call the meeting of the San Juan Unified School District Board of Education to order. There are 3 closed session items on tonight's agenda. Student expulsions in 3 cases, Education Code Section 48918F. Collective bargaining matters, discussion with negotiator Daniel Thigpen, Senior Director of Labor Relations, regarding CSEA Chapter 127, General Operations Support, Chauffeurs, Teamsters, Local Number 150, Transportation, Supervisors, Teachers, and certificated supervisory units, and regarding non-represented groups, management and confidential units, Government Code Section 54957.6. And personnel matters, Government Code Session 54957, Superintendent's Evaluation. We do not have any speaker cards on the closed session agenda items. We will now move into closed session, and we will return to open session at 6:30 p.m. Good evening. I call the meeting of the San Juan Unified Board of Education back to order. The meeting is being audio and video recorded, and the recording may capture sounds and images of those attending this meeting. The recording will be posted on the district's website. Board meetings are being held in person in the boardroom at the district office, and the public is welcome to attend. Alternatively, the meeting may also be viewed on the district's YouTube channel, where it is being live streamed. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Good evening and welcome. I am Zima Creason, Board Vice President. To my right is Ms. Pam Costa, Board Clerk, and to her right is Mr. Saul Hernandez, Board Member. To my left is Superintendent Kern, and to his left is Board Administrative Assistant Stephanie Cunningham. Board President Michael McKibben and Board Member Paula Viesquez are both absent tonight. Individuals who are attending the meeting in person and would like to offer public comment, we ask that you complete a speaker request card available at the staff table, and you will be called on at the appropriate time during the agenda. Please note that Board Bylaw 9323 limits visitor comments to 2 minutes per speaker, with no more than 30 minutes per single topic. Time will be extended for any speaker who uses an interpreter. Please be aware that public comments, including your name, become part of the public record. We are now at item D, approval of the minutes for June 14th. This item is being pulled, and it will be brought back in August for approval when we have more board members present to vote. There are no staff reports, so we will move on to item E2, Board Appointed District Committees. Tonight we have a report from the Chair of the Bond Oversight Committee, Tim Slate.
There we go. Nice. You can hear me now. Good evening, San Juan Unified Board members. I'd like to give the report for the San Juan Unified Bond Oversight Committee for the year of 2022. In accordance with the Education Code 15278B, the San Juan Unified School District's Bond Oversight Committee, otherwise known as BOC, provides oversight to the district regarding the appropriate and legal use of Proposition 39 bond dollars. The BOC normally consists of at least 7 members, including PTA, parent, senior, business, taxpayer representatives, and community members at large. It is intended to inform the public regarding the expenditures of Measure J, Measure N, and Measure P bonds. Based on when they were approved, these 3 bonds represent over $1 billion of bond principal that district taxpayers will be paying off for decades. It is crucial that BOC members are diligent in providing oversight. The committee meets roughly quarterly to review projects and costs, and annually to review independent financial and performance audits of these bond dollars. This annual review will cover roughly the 2021 through 2022 fiscal year, with most time being spent on the 2021 summer construction season and review of the BOC meetings held during the last year. Summer construction season. So the majority of the facility projects completed for this school year include Arden Middle School new campus, Del Campo Science and Media Building, and wrapping up Star King K-8 TK/Kinder classroom wings, and John Barrett Middle School modernization. The Bond Oversight Committee had the opportunity to visit Greer Elementary School and Arden Middle School this year after in-person meetings resumed back in March. Bond financing. The district has continued to employ a modified hybrid pay-as-you-go process to fund many of its school projects. This has allowed the district to save over $150 million on interest costs. By limiting bond sales and repaying debt quickly after a year or two, the interest rates are at least 50% less than if the bonds were sold and paid off over a typical 25 to 30-year period. BOC meetings. The Citizens Bond Oversight Committee has met 4 times in the last year: on June 17, 2021, December 16, 2021, March 15, 2022, and just this last week, June 21st of 2022. Beyond routine construction updates, the most substantial agenda item discussed at these 4 meetings was the annual release of the financial and performance audits covering the 2020 through 2021 fiscal year. Performance and financial audits. Gilbert CPAs conducted the performance audit review and found the district in compliance regarding the spending of bond dollars under measures J, N, and P. The internal controls of the district are sound and total expenditures match audited financial statements. The bond funds were spent appropriately on construction and modernization of school buildings and not on staff salaries and administrative costs unrelated to the bond itself. The financial audit, also done by Gilbert CPAs, showed no irregularities. During its 60-year history, San Juan Unified has placed only 4 facility bonds before voters. The district prioritizes campus modernization based on age of buildings and student enrollment figures using its facility master plan. Conclusion. There are various ways to analyze the effectiveness of the state and local bonds, but 3 criteria stand out. Number 1, the projects funded by the bond need to last the length of it, so students continue to benefit while parents pay off the interest. Number 2, projects funded should benefit the majority of students at the school. Number 3, and finally, the projects funded should be prioritized based on age and amount of district general fund routine maintenance done on each campus. San Juan Unified fully meets these criteria and continues. Yeah, it cut off. San Juan Unified meets these criteria, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Slate.
You're welcome.
Any questions, comments from my colleagues? Mr. Hernandez.
Mr. Slate, thank you so much for your report. It was very thorough, and I appreciate you bringing out the outstanding job first, the BOC, the charge that they have to make sure that it's done right. And I really appreciate you bringing out that the district is prudent in the way we spend the money and in a rapid manner where we save our community citizens the amount of money that we save by doing what we do. So I appreciate you bringing that out, and thank you for the BOC for all their hard work this past year.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Ms. Costa. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I apologize. Thank you, Mr. Slate. I appreciate the report and really appreciate all you do. You know, I know that you have your own family and you have your own job, but you still make time for this. And I also know that you were reelected as president, so I think you must be doing something right. So thank you for all that you do. Have a wonderful summer, and thank you for the great report.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Oh, and we do have public comments? No. Oh, I apologize. We also have a report from the Lcap PAC. Mr. Steve Rubens. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. Mr. Hernandez, Ms. Costa, Ms. Greason, Mr. Kern, thank you for having me. My name is Stephen Rubens. I've been a parent now going on 6 years in San Juan Unified. I have a 4th grader and a 1st grader starting next year. And if you're doing the math, my oldest was in TK, so he got an extra year. So just wanted to mention that. This is going to be my 3rd year on Lcap, and last year I was assistant chair, and this year I was elected as chair with my new colleague, Elizabeth Hawkins. She is now the assistant chair, so I wanted to thank her for accepting that role. The first thing I want to do as chair is to thank Kim Brown for her leadership and service last year and previous years as a member, but specifically as the chair last year. She could not be here due to family obligations tonight, but she gives her regards, so thank you for that. Also want to thank Tom Nelson for his guidance and leadership in previous years. He's been an invaluable resource for the PAC and myself especially, so thank you, Tom. Next, I just wanted to update the board on some votes that we had aside from the election. We voted as a committee to meet in a hybrid model next year to give some people some flexibility there if possible. We also voted to approve the Lcap committee recommendations that were presented to the school board on June 14th. So just wanted to let everyone know we voted on that officially. Lastly, we voted to keep John as our director for next year. We wanted to just make sure we get some consistency in the leadership there. So we really like John and just wanted to, just for posterity, make that vote. And that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to share tonight. Thank you for having me, and I'm looking forward to working with you guys in the next school year. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your report. Any questions from my colleagues? Okay. Oh, okay. Comments coming later. Thank you. Okay, so, and thank you again. We are at items E3 and E4, and there are no reports from employee organizations or other district organizations. We are at item E5, closed session expulsion actions. Ms. Costa.
The board has completed its evaluation of Superintendent Kern for the 21-22 school year, and the board voted unanimously to give him a positive evaluation, and based on the positive evaluation, Superintendent Kern will receive the benefits identified in his employee contract. Also, the board voted unanimously to accept a hearing panel's recommendation of 3 expulsions in case numbers M33, S54, and S58.
Thank you, Ms. Costa. We are at item F, visitor comments. We do have speaker cards for general visitor comments. I would like to remind the public that comments are limited to 2 minutes. The clock on the screen counts down the time. Under the Ralph M. Brown Act, the board is not allowed to comment on items that are not on the agenda. So we are not ignoring your comments. We just can't respond to any individual comments. The superintendent can refer items to staff who can follow up with you. And first up, we have Mr. Michael Seaman. And next, after Michael Seaman, will be Tom Nelson. Nope. Mr. Seaman?
Thank you. I'm Michael Seaman, 44-year resident of the district. I provided a letter for all of you to read. I'm going to hit the highlights right now. There's a big difference between your at Encina Middle School problem and your at Creekside solution, and it's raised some serious questions. As policymakers, you're supposed to know the environmental consequences of your decisions. The Creekside site has environmental consequences. Were you aware of them when you picked Creekside? Was public notice and input part of your decision? What alternative sites did you look at? Sites you operate, lease out, or could modify? Neither your strategic plan nor your facilities plan speak to your 3 middle schools concept and your Creekside campus decision. Does this inspire the public to have confidence in your use of public dollars? The Creekside campus will serve a disadvantaged population, yet the site is so constrained it barely passes state minimums. Don't the students, parents, and community deserve better? Why are you rushing? The project schedule is entirely unrealistic given the requirements for public notice and input required for compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act. Right now, the schedule calls for the analysis to be done before the public is done commenting on the need for analysis. Are you taking unnecessary risk? The public's already been told that the site plan and building design will not be changed. Doesn't that conflict with the requirements for mitigation? As I've asked for you to pay attention to before, please pause the process to genuinely listen to public input and respond to the input in a way that creates a win-win environment for everyone rather than the win-lose situation that seems to be emerging. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Seaman. Next is Tom Nelson.
Good evening, Vice President Greason, board members. I just want to give my, kind of share my perspective of what I hear in the community. And, based upon the architectural plans already being created and the lack of the environmental study being completed, it does appear the district is at risk of investing taxpayer funds into a project that has a possibility of going nowhere. And questions that I have that I'm hearing in the community was, has the community been given information of what locations a new campus might have? Was the community presented with choices of locations? And if so, what were the results of the feedback of the possible choices? Like, were a side-by-side comparison done of possible properties for the community that will be attending that school? And could there be, say, for example, an endangered species or floodplain issues or other environmental issues that could invalidate the feasibility of building a middle school of the size needed at Creekside? What is the risk that the time, energy, and money invested would discover a factor that cannot be mitigated? So those are questions. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. We are at item G, consent calendar. Item G29 will be pulled and it will be brought back for approval in August when we have more board members present to vote. Do any board members wish to remove other items from the consent calendar? I believe I do need to pull an item, but I'm not sure which. I'm sorry, can I go off or should I stay on? Sorry, this is my first time running the meeting and I got a little confused. So, as stated, I'm pulling G29, which will be brought back in August. Is there a motion to approve items G1 through G28?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That is unanimous. We will now move on to our business items. Oh, nope, I'm missing a spot. Sorry, bear with me. Item G29 was pulled from the consent calendar. We did the motion. Is there a second? So I don't have to do that all again. I promise it'll only get better from here, folks. All right, we're at I1, California School Dashboard, Local Indicators, Ms. Bassinelli.
Good evening, Vice President Creason, members of the board, Superintendent Kern, and Ms. Cunningham. The superintendent is recommending that the board receive a report on San Juan Unified School District's measurement of progress for local indicators related to the State Accountability Dashboard. Presenting this information to you tonight is Dr. Gian Tornatore, Director of Continuous Improvement in Lcap.
All right, good evening, Vice President Creason, members of the board, Superintendent Kern, and Ms. Cunningham. This evening, we are here to present the San Juan Unified School District's California School Dashboard Local Indicators. This evening, I will be sharing information regarding the California School Dashboard Local Indicator requirements, San Juan's local indicator results that will be posted to the 2022 dashboard, and information regarding the timeline and release of the 2022 dashboard. California has adopted state and local indicators to measure school district and individual school site performance in each of the state priorities. Performance data on state and local indicators is publicly reported on the California School Dashboard to provide parents and educators with information on school and district progress, as well as assist in identifying strengths, challenges, and areas in need of improvement. State indicators apply to all districts, schools, and student groups. are based on data that is collected consistently across the state and are aligned to state priority areas 4, 5, 6, and 8. Local indicators are based on data collected at the local level by districts and charters and are aligned to state priority areas 1, 2, 3, 6, and 7. Finally, San Juan uses additional Lcap indicators as well as ongoing community listening session and survey data to monitor progress and performance. So California has approved the following local indicator requirements for districts to measure and report progress on the related state priority areas, which include annually measuring its progress in state priority areas 1, 2, 3, 6, and 7 using the California Adopted Self-Reflection Tool, reporting the results to the local governing board as part of a non-consent item at the same public meeting in which the Lcap is adopted, and then reporting the results to the public through the dashboard using the California Adopted Self-Reflection Tools for each of the local indicators. A district that meets all 3 of the state requirements for a local indicator will receive a performance rating of MET for that local indicator on the dashboard. A district that does not meet all 3 of the state requirements for a local indicator will receive a performance rating of not met. And a district that does not meet all 3 of the state requirements for a local indicator for 2 or more consecutive years will receive a performance rating of not met for 2 or more years. Before sharing the results for each local indicator, I will begin by sharing that San Juan has met all 3 of the state requirements for each of the local indicators. So for local indicator 1, our performance level is met. This local indicator requires LEAs to measure its progress in meeting the Williams settlement requirements at 100% of the school sites. The required information for this local indicator are also reported as part of the Instruction Material Sufficiency Resolution, which was approved by the board on September 28, 2021, and the School Accountability Report Card, which was approved by the board on January 25, 2022. The results of this local indicator that will be reported on the California dashboard includes the percentage of misassigned teachers of English learners, total teacher misassignments and vacant positions, which is 0%, the percentage of students without access to standards-aligned instructional materials, which is 0%, and the percentage of facilities that did not meet the good repair standard, which is also 0%. As a note, since teacher assignment data has not yet been released by the California Department of Education, districts have been advised to report local data for this indicator, which is what is being reported here. When the data is available, the state will populate the teacher assignment data on the California school dashboard. For local indicator 2, our performance level is met. This local indicator requires LEAs to report its progress in implementing state academic standards. The results of this local indicator that will be reported using the state-adopted self-reflection tool on the California dashboard includes progress in providing professional learning for teaching the academic standards and curriculum frameworks. For ELA, ELD, and mathematics, we are at a level 4, which is full implementation. And for the next generation science and history social science standards, we are at a level 3, which is initial implementation. The second category is making instructional materials that are aligned to the academic standards and curriculum frameworks. For ELA, ELD, and history social science, we're at a level 5, which is full implementation and sustainability. And for mathematics and the next generation science standards, we are at a level 4, which is full implementation. The third category are policies and programs to support staff in identifying areas of improvement aligned to the academic standards or curriculum frameworks. For ELD, we're at a level 4, which is full implementation. And for ELA, mathematics, next generation science, and history social science, we are at a level 3, which is initial implementation. Fourth category is focused on the district's progress in implementing the career technical education, health education, physical education, and visual and performing arts and world language standards. For CTE, PE, and VAPA, we are at a level 4, which is full implementation. And for health education and world language, we are at a level 3, which is initial implementation. And then finally, the fifth category is supporting and engaging teachers and administrators in identifying their professional learning needs and providing support. And in this category, we're at a level 4, which is full implementation. For local indicator 3, again, our performance level here is met. This local indicator requires LEAs to measure its progress in implementing policies, programs, and practices related to parent and family engagement, in the areas of building relationships between school staff and families, building partnerships for student outcomes, and seeking input for decision-making. The results of this local indicator will be reported using the state-adopted self-reflection tool and will report that we are currently at a level 3, which is initial implementation for all 3 categories. I would also like to note that for this local indicator, there was an additional requirement to identify a focus group of diverse educational partners and ask the group for input on data that should be considered when the district self-reflects on its progress. The focus group included members from the educational partner groups that we have engaged throughout the year in the development of our district plans. Now, last year we had a focus group that included 11 participants. This year, we were able to increase the size of the focus group participants to 57, which included 15 family and community members, 19 staff, and 23 students. For local indicator 6, our performance level is met. This local indicator requires LEAs to measure student perceptions of school safety and connectedness. That being said, I want to point out that in San Juan, we also administer the climate survey to staff and parents in addition to students, and use the results to inform our planning. This evening, however, I will only be reporting on the student responses since this presentation is focused on our local indicators. The school climate survey was administered to students in grades 4 through 12 from January 10th to March 4th and was extended due to the Omicron variant we experienced in January and February to maximize participation. The results of this local indicator that will be reported on the dashboard includes the percent of students in grades 4 through 12 who responded agree or strongly agree in the following categories. For high expectations in caring relationships, the percent of students who responded positive was 72.1%. For participation, engagement, and motivation, the percent of students who responded positive was 67.4%. For school culture and sense of belonging, the percent of students who responded positive was 64.5%. And for safety, the percent of students who responded positive was 66.4%. Again, for local indicator 7, our performance level is met. This local indicator requires LEAs to report the extent to which students have access to and are enrolled in a broad course of study. This is determined by the percentage of students with a report card grade in all broad course of study subject areas and in each subject area. For grades TK through 8, this includes the percentage of students enrolled in ELA, math, science, social science, and PE. For grades 9 through 12, it includes the percentage of students enrolled in courses based on graduation requirements for ELA, math, science, social science, foreign language, PE, and visual and performing arts. The percentage of TK through 5th grade students with a report card grade in all broad course of study subject areas is 89.5%. The percentage of 6th through 8th grade students with a report card grade in all broad course of study subject areas is 94.9%. And for 9th through 12th grade, the percentage of students enrolled in a broad course of study met enrollment expectations. And this is determined by the number of semesters required to meet graduation requirements in ELA, math, science, social science, foreign language, physical education, and visual and performing arts. Now, when looking across grades TK through 12, a barrier to students receiving a full course of study is ensuring that students have access to both core instruction that addresses grade level content, as well as additional program, service, and intervention support in language arts, math, and English language development. This may disproportionately impact students who receive intervention, designated ELD instruction, or special education services to meet individualized education program goals, which may remove students from comprehensive core classroom instruction for specific blocks of time during the day. And then finally, with regard to the California School Dashboard, we are expecting the results of both the state and local indicators to be released in December. The CDE is also preparing a communications toolkit to help support this reboot of the California School Dashboard. With regard to the state and local indicators, the dashboard typically uses both current year status for achievement and change from the prior year for growth when calculating performance. The 2022 dashboard will only use status and not change. This is because we will have current year data to report. However, we will not have data from 2021 to measure growth since California law suspended the reporting of state indicators on the 2021 dashboard due to COVID-19. Because we will not have status and change data, Performance colors will not be included this year. Additionally, the College and Career Indicator relies on having students' 11th grade CASP scores to calculate their preparedness in 12th grade. Because the 2021 reporting of state indicators on the dashboard was suspended, the California Department of Education cannot produce a College Career Indicator for 2022. Finally, this year, federal law requires that the participation rate be factored into state accountability systems. This means that if a district, school, or student group does not meet the 95% participation rate goal, a penalty will be applied to the academic indicator on the California School Dashboard. And this penalty change could result in districts and schools receiving a much lower status level than in prior years in ELA and math. So Vice President Creason, this concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions from the board.
Thank you so much. Do any board members have questions or comments? Ms. Costa.
I just have compliments. As I looked at the addendums items, and first compliment is to the FACE Department for the multiple ways for families to engage, and by increasing the number of workshops for families in their primary languages. I think that's fantastic. And the second area is in increasing the feedback through listening sessions and thought exchanges and surveys. We have really remarkably increased the number of people providing feedback, and that's, I think, very important to us as a district in making our decisions. So thank you very much for that, and to the other teams that have helped with that.
Thank you. Superintendent Kern.
Yeah, I just have one question, and either of you can answer this. It's on that last slide, if you can go back to the 95% participation rate. This has been an issue that many of us have really tried to address, even at the state level, because the negative, in a normal year, that's something that if you had our regular attendance rate, that's a reasonable thing to have happen. And, you know, we would hope that we could get to that 95% participation rate. With COVID this year and the amount of students that we saw that were missing school, even during this testing period, it's very, very likely that that is going to have a negative impact. And as you mentioned, really negatively show what those results are. Can you explain a little bit more what you think that will end up looking like for us?
Right, so there's always been a penalty for not meeting the participation rate, but the penalty calculation has changed. And this new calculation could have a greater impact on our reporting next year. So to give you an example, if we do not meet the 95% threshold, the Department of Education will calculate the number of students required to meet that 95% threshold, and each of those students will be provided the lowest obtainable scaled score, and that'll be factored into our overall performance.
And we have no public comments, so thank you so much for your report.
Thank you.
We are on item I2, Local Control and Accountability Plan. Ms. Bassinelli.
Good evening again. The superintendent is recommending that the board approve San Juan Unified School District's 2021-2024 Local Control Accountability Plan. This plan was presented to the board for public hearing and discussion at the last board meeting on June 14th. Dr. Tornatore and I are here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Do any board members have questions or comments? Mr. Hernandez.
Thank you, Ms. Bassinelli. First, I want to thank our new chair and vice chair for being here, as well as Mr. Nelson, who are members of our Lcap. I want to thank them as well as all of the Lcap committee members. I've been liaison or co-chair liaison along with Ms. Costa for this last year. And I've learned a lot. This is the first time that I served at this capacity, and I, for one, appreciate the passion that the members of this committee serve. With that being said, though, we have always known that Lcap was going to be a moving situation. And as a result of that, we had a workshop on Lcap couple months ago, I believe it was. And as a result, I would, and I think I speak for Ms. Costa, that we would like to advise our superintendent and staff to take a look at Lcap, and more so, take a look at our committee and how it compares to other committees in other districts, and come back with a recommendation on how can we be better. I know that one thing, for example, that I personally feel that we need to take a look at and even change is the way that we put members on this committee. Unlike all the other committees that we have in the district, which are most board appointed, Lcap is different. We have members of the community send an application and they are selected or board approved versus board committee. And I think there's a big advantage of having a committee that serves as a board appointed, because that allows a relationship or communication between the board and that individual committee member to, one, to get feedback, each member of board getting feedback from the individual committee member, but at the same time that they are engaged in helping and being part of that committee. And also be able to change if that person is not attending or not participating, likely to get, make a change and keep that committee strong and vibrant. So I would ask that the Superintendent Kern, along with staff, to go back and do that and come back to us as a board and give us feedback on what that looks like in other places, how can we be better, and I yield to my colleague, Ms. Costa, if you have anything about what you'd like to say.
I think you got ahead of yourself. It's item I-5. It's okay, because I would second what you said. And when we get to I-5, I will second what you said.
Forget everything I just said, all right? I'll do it again. I'll do it again in a minute. Sorry.
I didn't
Why
realize
did
you were
somebody
off.
stop me?
I was there for it. Okay, so this is an action item. We do not have any public comment. This is an action item. Is there a motion to approve the district's 2021 to 2024 LCAP?
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved by Ms. Costa and seconded by Mr. Hernandez. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that is unanimous. We are at item I3, Choices Charter School California Dashboard Local Indicators. Mr. Ginter.
Good evening, VP Creason, members of the board, Superintendent Kern, Ms. Cunningham. The superintendent is recommending that the board receive a report on San Juan Choices Charter School's measurement of progress for the 5 local indicators related to the State Accountability Dashboard. And to do that this evening is Tony Oder, Director of Choices Charter.
Hi, Director Creason, board members, Superintendent Kern, Ms. Cunningham. Sorry we missed your graduation, but I'm glad to see you're feeling better.
I'm so sorry. It wasn't me, my kid. The long story, I'll call you.
Well, you've got 2 days to call me, just so you know. Yes. So,
He's dressed a little casual tonight because he
Yeah.
retires in 2 days. So.
Short timer. Got it. Okay.
Superintendent knows I had some ideas about how to dress for tonight, but we won't go into that right now. So I want to thank John, as always, for providing such thorough background and lead-up information for this report. So I won't go into any of those details. But I will go right into our plant. Boy, that looks really small. So our basic services, we have met this performance level. Teacher assignments are all in order. All students have access to proper materials, and our facilities are in good repair. And that's largely due to San Juan Unified School District and the M&O department that takes care of us very, very well. Slide 3, our standards implementation. As staff has turned over a little bit more than usual lately for many reasons, we're emphasizing standards implementation with new staff and providing training and support as needed. However, from past training and past work we've done at the school, we're able to at least maintain implementation in most of our levels. That's interesting. There it is. Okay, so under our parent engagement, our performance level was met. As discussed at the last board meeting, when we presented our LCAP for board and public review, Choices makes a concerted effort to engage parents and guardians through training opportunities, workshops, and presentations. Some of our key findings are positive regarding the opportunities for parents to provide input, that the school environment is positive and supportive, and how Choices provides a positive learning experience. Our parent participation was down a little bit this year, about 7%, but this is not unusual coming out of a COVID closure year. Our school climate indicators, we met our performance level. Some of the key findings in this area are that students feel safe at Choices. They believe their education has become more personalized, and students feel that Choices staff is caring and responsive to their needs. As the percentage of students experiencing anxiety upon their enrollment continues to increase, a large majority of them feel their anxiety levels have either stabilized or decreased since attending Choices. The staff continues to work hard at finding ways to improve student anxiety levels while supporting student learning. In our broad course of study area, we have met our performance level. Advanced level courses are increasing in number over the last 5 years, while barriers of entry to honors and AP courses have been removed. Per our WASC site plans, Choices is committed to reviewing which courses we should continue to offer or remove from the course catalog, as well as developing new courses and career pathways that will engage students in learning and help them become college and career ready upon graduation. And that's my short report. Do you have any questions I can answer for you?
Thank you so much. Do any board members have questions or comments? Mr. Hernandez.
Just a comment. Thank you for the report, and thank you for your many years of service to San Juan. We wish you the best in your retirement.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Costa.
I'm trying. I would echo those sentiments. We wished you well one meeting too early, so most wishing you the best possible retirement, and thank you so much for all your service. And I have a comment on State Priority 7. It was really exciting to see that over the last 7 years, Choices on an average has developed and added at least one new course each year, one new CTE pathway, and a development of a second CTE pathway in 2022-23. So congratulations on that and the AP courses. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, and we have no public comment. I echo happy retirement. That's awesome. Sorry I didn't make it. I really do apologize. It was a sick kid, not a sick Zima. So.
It was nice. It was a nice ceremony.
I bet it was. I'm sorry. Keep me on the list.
Okay. If I could just have a minute, since I think I only used about 2 of my 10. I just wanted to thank the board, Superintendent Kern, all of my longtime friends and associates in the district that have supported me personally, as well as supported Choices Charter School over the last 7 years. We're deeply indebted to all the input and all the help and all the support that San Juan Unified has shown Choices. And on a personal level, also thank you very much for all that support. Superintendent Kern, you've been a friend, a colleague, a big supporter. You've provided me with opportunities that I could never imagine. And as long as I know what your address is, you will always be on the Carmel list. So just keep that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good evening once again, VP Creason, members of the board, Superintendent Kern, Ms. Cunningham. The superintendent is recommending that the board approve revisions to the San Juan Choices Charter School 2021 to 2024 LCAP, and previous action was at the June 14th board meeting.
So we are officially on item I4. Just for the record, do any board members have questions or comments? This is an action item. Is there a motion to approve the 21-24 Choices Charter School LCAP? Second. It has been moved by Mr. Hernandez and seconded by Ms. Costa. All those in favor say aye. Aye, that was unanimous. All right, we are at item I5, data regarding the function and format of the LCAP PAC. Mr. Allen.
Good evening, Vice President Creason, members of the board. I will try and be expeditious because it sounds like you want to have some conversation on this one. And Mr. Hernandez has already actually heard this presentation once before. So I will try and move us right along. We are returning tonight after our conversation at our workshop on April 15th. One of the points of topic that we had was about our committees in the district, and specifically the Lcap PAC. The board had asked for some more information specific to the Lcap PAC and its functioning, so we wanted to bring back a few of our findings for you tonight for your consideration. So as we get started tonight, I do want to highlight for you that we have no recommendations for you in tonight's presentation. This is just data we have collected based on what you asked for. So this is just, again, coming back to you with this information. We have no recommendations for you tonight, just for your consideration and discussion. So we're going to go through tonight and talk a little bit about the purpose of the PAC and how our efforts to expand voice in San Juan have really expanded since we first started in 2014. We'll take a little look at the service of PAC members on the committee in the last few years, and then we'll wrap up taking a look at some of the models that were used in other systems in California schools. So as we begin, I just want to set the context for the PAC and its purpose. One of the conversations we had back in April was about making sure that our committees were really clear on what the purpose and what the ask was for them. So as we look at kind of those guiding documents for the PAC, we have purpose in kind of two areas. One is an education code. An education code says districts are going to have an advisory committee, a group that's going to provide advice to the board and to the superintendent regarding the Lcap. The second area where we really look for what our specific PAC is asked to do is in their committee bylaws. And again, that reinforces the advisory nature of the group and asks them to really be that voice of advice to the board. So taking a look at our efforts to expand voice, so when we started with the Lcap and the process to collect input to inform the Lcap back in 2014, it looked a little bit different than what it looks like right now. When we started in 2014, San Juan Unified made the decision to really try and be active in our voice collection. Many other school systems said, you know what, let's just use a committee, a group that we already have on hand. Let's just run a few things by them and we'll move along. But in San Juan, we said, let's try and expand that voice. Let's try and build a group that really has a representative voice to help inform this process. And the result of that was what we called at the time the Lcap 35. So this was a group of 35 individuals that had parents, but also included employees, as well as students and some board members who really kind of served as that larger group to provide some input. Back in 2014, we counted amongst our educational partners, 14 educational partners. And when we talk about our educational partners, these are all of the groups that we go out to and seek input regarding the Lcap and the processes that inform the Lcap. We're happy to say that now in 2022, we count 38 different groups among those. The Lcap PAC is one of those groups, but really expanding the number of groups and the number of voices we have in that process has been really important to the district. And to the Lcap PAC, they've been very much about wanting to expand that voice as well. And finally, just looking at outreach and participation and just how we do some of those things, it's really been about an evolution of some of those strategies. So looking at how we ask for that input, really moving from some small targeted surveys to trying to be broader and really engaging in more thoughtful processes like listening circles and focus groups where we can really dig down in and hear more substantive conversation. And again, that climate survey is an important part of that process as well this year with those 20,000 responses helping inform the Lcap. All that said, while we've grown, we know there's more to do and we continue to expand those efforts and work on expanding those efforts each and every year. So now I want to turn and just take a look at service on the Lcap PAC for the last few years. So as we look at 1920 through this last year, we have 11 members who have left the committee for reasons, for basically attendance reasons. And on the right-hand side, you'll see those reasons kind of summarized by category areas. In attachment B in your packet, we have the specific language that was used. We had staff contact each of those members and ask, why did you leave the committee? What could be better? So I would encourage you to look at attachment B and just kind of look at some of that specific language. But this gives you a summary of what was shared with staff as well. And then specific to attendance, we looked at attendance for this year. There were 2 vacancies on the committee for pretty much the entirety of the year. And this is one of the areas where I really had to resist giving you recommendations because vacancies and recruiting for our committees has been a conversation we've had. I will not give you recommendations tonight, just to let you know, though, that we do have some thoughts and ideas. So I would expect that we will have some pieces in place for this starting next year as well. But for our attendance at the Lcap PAC, we did have 5 members this year who'd missed 50% or more of the meetings, but the group did meet its quorum at all but 1 meeting by the end of the meeting. There were several meetings where the group did not have quorum at the start, but by the time the meeting had ended, or at some point during the meeting, they were able to reach quorum. One of the questions that we did also look into specific to this information was how this compares with our other committees, so curriculum and standards and our finance committee. Both curriculum and standards and finance had no vacancies over the last year. The finance committee did miss quorum at 1 meeting. Curriculum and standards did not miss any quorums. And curriculum and standards had no more than 3 members who missed more than half their meetings, and facilities only had 1 member who missed half their meetings. So finally tonight, just a quick look at what we found for models and other systems. And again, when we look at Ed Code, it says we will have a group that provides this advisory capacity to both the superintendent and board, but it does not say specifically how you have to do that. It actually says you can use existing groups if they meet the requirements. It says you can pull them together in different ways. As we look at others throughout this state, we tried to look at those who have either some similar demographics to us or who are in our geographic region. We see them doing it in quite a few different ways. One of the themes and things that we do see that's similar throughout most of them is that this idea of a representative model. Many systems are polling members from individual school sites. Others are polling members from other committees. So that idea of a representative model of some type is a common theme that we see in many of these options. Another theme that we kind of drew out of this was the idea of whether staff and parents are both represented on the same committee. Again, that's where we started in San Juan. I think we had some very good reasons to kind of split those apart, just to help to ensure the equity of voice in those conversations. But again, that's something that you see as kind of a mixed bag throughout these other districts throughout the state. The other note that I'll make here is that some of these other systems, these groups don't focus exclusively on Lcap. Lcap is one of the things they look at, but it's not the only thing they look at. And with that, I'd be happy to take questions and discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Do any board members have questions or comments? Mr. Hernandez?
Thank you. I was wondering why the pages weren't, an item, I couldn't find, anyway. So you heard what I said, and before I asked Ms. Costa again, I forgot a couple on my notes. There was discussion about the Brown versus Green Acts, as we discussed that back in April. And before this meeting, I spoke with our House counsel to make sure that if whatever recommendations there were, how would that affect, the Brown versus Green? And it's quite clear by code that it will remain this committee will act as within the Green Act, not the Brown Act. So I just wanted to make sure that we were aware of that as a board, that, because I was confused. I did have to reach out and ask, and appreciate those that gave me input. But other than that, Ms. Costa.
I would agree with what Mr. Hernandez said earlier. I think that it's important for us, when the committee was first formed, and I was actually a board liaison at that point in time, we talked about that because it was so new, we were establishing a new committee and we would go back and look at it and in future times. And one of the changes that was made was to separate staff from our parent and community and student members. But we haven't gone back and looked at it since then, and I think it would bode well for us to look at what the other districts are doing. I was pretty startled by the number of meetings that other districts do, everywhere from 3 to 11 meetings, so I'd like to know more about that and the size. Some of the districts obviously have a parent representative from every school, that seems overwhelming to me to have that many on the committee, but I'd like to know what their thinking is and how it impacts decision-making and recommendations that are made to the board. So I think this is worth us exploring further.
Agreed. I think it is something that we should explore further. So just speaking back on your previous comments, Mr. Hernandez, it sounds like there's a recommendation that this comes, or a request that a recommendation come back to the board.
Yeah, and I think probably what would work best is if, and I know it's unlikely over the next couple weeks, but maybe towards the end of July, that staff, maybe Trent, Mr. Tornatore, and our two staff liaisons meet together and start to develop that. So rather than it coming from just a recommendation from staff, the board is involved in the development of that as well. And then we could bring back a recommendation at that second board meeting in August as to what that could look like and if there are recommended changes from the board members related to any pieces, we could try and move that forward at that point in time. Does that work for the liaisons?
Sounds good. All right, well, thank you for the information.
Thank you.
We are at item I6, adoption of the 22-23 budget. Ms. Stahlhuber.
Good evening, Vice President Creason, board members, Superintendent Kern, Ms. Cunningham. We brought the budget on the 14th, and tonight the superintendent is recommending that the board adopt the San Juan Unified School District 2022-2023 budget, including the approval of the education protection account spending plans for the district and Choices Charter School, the excess reserves and the ending fund balance, and the district staffing standards, and approve the revisions to the 2021-2022 budget.
I apologize. I always say your first name and it's no excuse. Sorry, for the record, I apologize. That was not cool. Do any board members have questions or comments? All right, this is an action item and there's no public comment. All right, is there a motion to adopt the 22-23 budget, including the approval of the education protection account spending plans for the district and Choices Charter School, the excess reserves in the ending fund balance, and the district staffing standards, and approve the revisions to the 21-22 budget?
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved by Ms. Costa and seconded by Mr. Hernandez. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that was unanimous. Thank you. And we are at item I7, temporary interfund borrowing of cash. And you're up again.
The superintendent is recommending that the board hold a public hearing, review, and adopt resolution number 4029 to permit temporary interfund borrowing of cash.
I declare the topic of permitting temporary interfund borrowing of cash a public hearing, and it is now open for public comment. There being there are no speaker cards. There are no further comments. I declare the public hearing closed. Do any board members have questions or comments? All right, this is an action item. Is there a motion to adopt resolution number 4029?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved by Mr. Hernandez and seconded by Ms. Costa. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that was unanimous. Thank you. We are at item I8, conveyance of a permanent easement at the district's transportation yard to Smud. Mr. Camarda.
Yes, excuse me. Thank you, Vice President Creason, members of the board, Superintendent Kern, and Ms. Cunningham. Tonight's facilities item is an action item. It is the public hearing of the conveyance of an easement at 3050 Orange Grove Avenue, North Highlands, California. That is our transportation yard, and this would be the infrastructure needed to charge the electric buses that we have a grant for.
Yay, electric buses. I declare the topic of conveying a permanent easement at the district's transportation yard to Smud a public hearing, and it is now open for public comment. Are there any speaker cards? There being no comments, I declare the public hearing closed. I did much better that time. Do any board members have questions or comments? Okay. This is an action item. Is there a motion to adopt resolution number 4028?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved by Mr. Hernandez and seconded by Ms. Costa. All those in favor say aye. Aye, that was unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are at item J, board reports. Are there any board reports? Mr. Hernandez?
I just want to publicly acknowledge the passing of facility member Dave Doer, who was not only he was a board member, served in this capacity, and to his dying days served the committee, served our district, and recently passed away, and he a recent member of our facility committee. Dave's a good guy. Want everybody to know that.
Well, we'll certainly adjourn in his honor. All right, and it seems that there are no other board reports. We are at item K, future agenda. Do any board members wish to add any items to the future agenda? Okay, we do not need to return to closed session. Mr. Hernandez would like to adjourn in honor of our colleague. Can you please repeat his name? I didn't write it down, I apologize.
Dave Doer. Did I pronounce that right, Frank? Yeah, Mr. Dave Doer.
Thank you. We adjourn in his honor, and we are adjourned.
Thank you.